raising my vibration, yoga meditation.
Just sticking to the basics, living in a matrix. It's cynical and crazy, but I've been swimming in amazement, writing out these verses, reversing all my curses, walking in my
Guys,
purpose,
honestly,
doing it on
Londrell, if
purpose.
you want to
Sure,
listen
I'm
to spiritual
certain I'm
music,
pure,
he
not
is
perfect. I
number one
rise
for
to
that. His
surface of God on the
affirmations are
surface, day and night.
beautiful, and honestly, you
All
will
praises
feel
to the
so
Most
good after
High.
listening to his music.
I've been hustling my
Hello to all my favorite night owls. I'm so excited to have you guys with me here tonight just because this topic that I'm going to be talking about is very dear to my heart and it has been a part of my life for the past 10 years. Can you guys believe that? 10 years? And it's also Halloween weekend. So come and join me, guys. Go get your little drink, tu beneath your pajamas, your pillow, get comfortable and relax after a long, hard working day. Or even if you were off, come relax with me tonight. So let's get into it. So tonight we're going to be talking about spirituality. Spirituality honestly came into my life, let's say when I was 15. I grew up in a Christian household. I grew up in a Catholic and Christian household, actually. I used to go to church service. I went to Catholic school. It was very like religious. My mom used to do services. I used to go to Bible study. I used to go to Sunday service. And throughout my time in church, it always felt like I was forced to be there. And even though my relationship with God today, or even when I was younger, I was super close, I pray every night, it just felt forced. It felt like it's like a baptism. You know, when someone has a baby and they baptize them into being Catholic and the baby has no say. I was actually baptized Catholic. I have pictures to prove it. But the baby has no say as to what religion they want to be a part of. And boom, the parents go and baptize the baby. It's just like that. Growing up, I was forced. I wouldn't say forced, but technically forced because if you didn't go to church, like it was looked down upon. You were like considered a bad child if you didn't listen to your parents and follow their religion. But growing up, I used to question things a lot. I was a very curious child. I always had questions for everything. And my time in church was amazing, but nothing is perfect. Christian, it was very judgmental. I feel like people just went to service to kind of like judge others in a way. Or even like the newcomers, they would ask them like, do you want to be given to Christ on the first day? Like some people just want to be in his presence and they don't instantly want to commit to a religion. But I don't want to get into like religion just because everyone has their own journey and that was my experience and I don't like things that are forced. I feel like when it happens naturally because I have been in church in moments where it happened naturally and my relationship with God has been so close to the moment where like even just being in his presence in a room, I felt so close to him. And I never felt like I wanted to rebel against him or my family. But the moments where I was forced to go, or moments where I felt like it was more of an obligation, I felt like, do I really want to be here? I just rather be in my room praying to him and having that one on one relationship with him. And also, like in Bible study or in the youth group service, there was a lot of like gossip or chit chat and like people talk about others or they were like be like, ooh, like I can't believe they're out partying. Like guys, like no one is perfect. And just hearing those conversations, I'm not one to judge. So just coming from a space of judgment, it just didn't feel right with me. So yeah, it's like I stopped going for a moment. But to start talking about spirituality now, it found me when I was 15. And I say found me because I remember my cousin, I remember this moment in my life very vividly. I remember my cousin having the book, The Four Agreements, and he left it in my house. And then I remember finding the book and out of nowhere, because at this point in my life, I was working full time. It was my senior year of high school or actually not my senior year of high school. I was 15. So I think my sophomore going to my junior year of high school. I was working full time and also I was like taking long commutes between work and school. So I found this book And I was like, okay, I'm going to read it throughout my commute. It was super small. If you read The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, like I remember his name by heart because this book has become like my guide in all things life. So I remember reading this book, and he has four agreements which I lived by, and those teachings were just amazing to me. It literally changed my whole perspective about how things worked, how people work. And I've always been very interested in psychology. And I say find me because I found the book so randomly, and out of nowhere I just started reading it, like reading the book, and ever since I put my hand on that book, my whole spiritual perspective has shifted. So, yeah, spirituality found me. And ever since that journey, I just been having like very vivid dreams. So I started questioning that as well. Like, why do I have these very vivid dreams? Why am I having these dreams where I feel like I was actually there in that realm? I had the conversations. I remember the conversations vividly. I remember the smell. I remember the sense of touch. I remember even if I ate in a dream, I'll remember that. I remember every single thing. And then I would talk to people like about my dreams, and they're like, oh, we don't remember anything when we dream. So it was like crazy to me. So just questioning that about the dream realm, reading the Four Agreements, just observing the world, going through my own difficult hardships, being a teenager, hormones, everything. It just all tied in into the beginning of my spiritual journey. And now thinking about it in hindsight, I'm so grateful it happened because I feel like it's given me so much wisdom, and it's removed that ego away from me. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've had moments where my ego has been through the roof, but how every spiritual person could tell you, once you go into that journey, once you get out of that ego phase, you feel so much love for the world. You feel so much love for the community. Goes out the window. Your level of empathy increases. Ever since I was a very young child, my empathy was always through the roof. Like that was another sign to me. I always felt people's emotions. Even before they told me they were sad, I knew that person was sad. I was always very observant. So, as a young child, just like feeling all those emotions, I knew that there was a gift or talent within me, and it was part of my journey. So right here I have a Q&A from my followers, and I have some questions that they asked me, and I cannot wait to answer them. So the first question that I have here is, what is my purpose? So I get this question a lot, and I ask myself this question a lot about people's life purpose. And what I've noticed is that life purpose is not linear. There's no instruction book. The answer might be one thing one day, or it might be another thing another day. I've noticed that your personality changes the older you get. So, what you thought might have been your life purpose when you were 12 is not what your life purpose is when you're 22 or 32 or 42. And also, things change and things happen, so that affects it too. But I've definitely noticed that the older I've gotten, the more I've noticed was my life purpose. I've noticed I'm going to be 25 soon, and I feel like being 24, I've definitely tapped into my life purpose a little bit. And I feel like my life purpose is being here, sitting with people, just talking to them, giving them advice, being the light in their life, bringing them comfort, and making them feel like they're not going crazy. Because a lot of people feel like when they cry or express their emotions, they feel like they're wrong to be doing that, or they feel like they're going crazy. But I'm here in this world, and my life purpose is to make those people feel comfortable and feel like they have a shoulder to cry on. So I feel like that's definitely part of my life purpose, but one else. So to answer that question, just live your life to the best potential or best that you can, and you'll see your life purpose plan out for you, and your life purpose will fall into your lap when you least expect it. And you're gonna sit down one day, probably be meditating, and like boom, like, oh, I just got the urge to go drive around, record videos. So that might be your life purpose, to drive around and record videos. Or boom, one day you wake up and you want to start learning about finance and go into finance, and boom, 5 years, 10 years later, you're an investment banker. So you just never know. Just follow your gut, follow your intuition. I'm huge on following your intuition. If for weeks now you've been feeling like you want to do something, go get up and try to do it, because you never know. You starting might lead to your bigger success in the future. It's just like people that have been like recording videos or content for like 3 4 months and they stop, but they know they really want to do it, and then they don't do it for another 2 years, then boom, on the third year they get this drive and they really really want to do it, and then they blow up in like 6 months. It's just like that. Like, it was always low-key their life purpose, but because they didn't put the action in the word as well, they were not able to accomplish it at the moment, but once they did, they became very successful. So that's relating to that. So another question that I got is about spirituality, and like, so basically the question is, how do I figure out who my ancestors are? I have not been told who my great grandfather is or great grandmother, and I would like to get more tapped into my ancestors. So, to answer your question, I feel like you could definitely do some research, maybe go back, like, let's say you're from Peru or Ecuador, the Dominican Republic, or Jamaica, or your family's from somewhere else, or even if they're from the United States and they've been here a long time, go to maybe your childhood home or go back to the country you're from or your family's from and do some investigation, or just like sit in the moment and talk to them and try to experience things and try to see like, okay, like, what are you feeling? Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and from what you're feeling you might get your answers. Sometimes it's just about listening and just diving in and asking those questions. Also, ask your mom or your dad or your grandmother or your aunts or uncles. They might be able to answer a lot of the questions, and just enjoying your culture. I feel like a lot of people, like with language. For example, I was born in the Dominican Republic, and but I grew up here. I came here when I was 4. And of course, when I first came here, I just spoke Spanish, but then I learned English. And then now I've noticed that I can't even speak or say or write certain Spanish words. And that's scaring me, because that's me losing my roots and that's me forgetting where I'm coming from. And I feel like a lot of people experience that and they lose that side of them. So when you lose that side of yourself, it's like you're moving on from your ancestors a little bit, because I know that my ancestors probably all spoke Spanish. So like me nurturing that, maybe like teaching that to my kids, is gonna allow my kids to understand their roots as well. So just remembering to keep your culture alive will give you an understanding of where your root is from, and not forgetting about it either. Hi guys, this is my cat Simba. Say hi, Simba. Meow meow. Okay, say bye, Simba. Bye. Bye. Bye, Simba. Bye.